Hey everybody, Mike here, Mike's Computer Tips. I'm going to do a series with a lot of different computer ideas and a lot of different computer topics. So make sure you tune in and, at your own convenience, watch all the videos and you will learn a lot about computers and computer tips and things that you could do to make your computer better and faster and more stable and safer. And so make sure I'm excited to do this series. It's going to be like 7 or 8 or even 10 videos together. It'll be a couple hours long, so make sure you check out the whole thing and you'll learn a real lot and it'll help you out a lot. So I will, but on that note, let's get started. Hey everybody, great to see everybody. In this series, it's going to be about hardware and upgrading. I'm going to do several different series. In this one, I'm going to start out with hardware, teaching everybody about computer hardware and letting you know the different parts that are in a computer if you're not familiar with them. When you're talking about a desktop computer, you're talking about case fans. You have fans in there that cool down the computer. And you can actually, if you have the room, you can actually add more fans to make it even more cooler. And the cooler the computer will run, the better it will run and the longer it will last. Because electronics heats up and eventually it wears out or burns out. So keeping your computer cool with the computer fans is great. Then you have your motherboard, which is your main board in your computer. And that's where everything is installed on. That's the big system board that sits on the bottom of the case, actually on the side of the case, on a desktop computer. And then you have video card. Now, some video cards are built into the motherboard and some are external. If it's a gaming computer, it's going to be a big external one that's in the slot on the motherboard. Then you have the CPU, which is also called the processor. CPU is Central Processing Unit, and that's the brain of the computer, and that's a little chip that sits in the center of the computer, and then there's a fan on it to keep it cool, and that's the CPU fan. Next, we're talking about memory, RAM memory, and that's installed in the computer in slots. And the more memory you have, basically the more desktop space you have, meaning you could do several things. If you have more than 8 gigs of memory, you could do multitasking without having your computer slow down or freeze up. Then you have the hard drive, which is SSD or SATA hard drive. Now, the newer hard drives today are SSD, solid state drives, and they're very small, and they're much faster than the old big hard drives, which are mechanical and have moving parts in them. The SSD hard drive, the newer ones today, which are in most computers, don't have any moving parts. They're on the same technology as the USB pen drive that you stick inside your USB port. So that's another thing to consider. There's also a different type of hard drive that's called M2, and that's even faster, a lot faster than the SSD. That installs on certain motherboards that have the slot M2. Now, the only thing with the M2 drive is they're very fast, but they get very hot. So a lot of gamers use the M2 hard drives because they're very fast for gaming. But if you're gaming for several hours at a time, that will heat up, and the lifespan of the M2 is very low compared to the lifespan of the SSD, which is not as fast but will outlast the M2 drive. Now, M2 drives are fine if you're only going to be gaming for maybe an hour at a time, because your computer won't get that hot. But if you're going to be gaming for hours on end with the M2 drive, make sure you have adequate cooling, because they get hot, they get very hot, and eventually they wear out. Now, the power supply is a very important part of the desktop computer, because that's what connects to all the different parts of the computer. Power supply has cables coming out the back of it, and they hook into the motherboard, into your drives, into various video cards. There's cables for all different things. The newer power supplies are called are a little bit different, because the plugs plug in and come out. You can install whatever amount of wires you need, and those are mostly the high end, like for gaming and high end editing. You have all the different types of plugs that go into the motherboard and drives. So that's the newer hard drives. I mean, the newer power supplies. Hello, we talked about, in the first segment, we talked about desktop computers. We are going to talk about laptop computers now. As far as the hardware goes, laptops are portable compared to a desktop, which is very stationary. Laptops, you could take them where you want, and they are now fast as a desktop computer. Now today you can buy a high-end gaming laptop, which is about as equivalent to a desktop computer as far as speed goes. So you can get a fast laptop, and you can do gaming on it. You can do video editing on it, and pretty much everything. And the thing about laptop is they're mostly proprietary, meaning you can't really do too much changing around. You can add memory, you can do change the hard drive, the video card is built into the motherboard most of the time, or built on the motherboard. There's not a lot of changing you could do. Once you have it done, it's pretty much done as far as the motherboard goes. As far as that part. And now as far as the cooling goes, the cooling is a lot different, because the laptop only has a couple fans. A lot of times they have one fan internally, and that blows out the hot air, compared to a desktop which has several fans that do more, that will blow in air and out air and circulate. The laptops are a lot smaller, so they don't really circulate that good as far as moving the air around. So you have to keep the vents clean on the sides, so the hot air does go out, and the fan does cool the laptop down. You have the Wi-Fi capability, like you could have in a desktop, which is nice, very portable, and screen size. Now you can buy real small laptops, or you can buy big screen laptops. Not as big as a desktop, obviously, but you can get 17-inch laptop screen, which is still pretty good if you like the whole idea about having a laptop. They're very popular They're not as easy to work on as a desktop because you have a lot more room to work on. But they're very popular, and a lot of people like them. Personally, I prefer a desktop, but that's just me. Some people like the laptop. It's more of like a personal preference, But either way, they're both good computers. And the hardware is, like I said, the hardware is high end, or you can have a low end laptop, like you can have a low end computer, a slower, just a basic computer to go on the internet with and stuff like that. Or you can have a laptop that's just basic, or you can have a high end laptop that will do everything that you want to do, the video editing, the gaming, and all that good stuff. So a lot of computers today aren't coming with drives, an external DVD, internal DVD drives. So you have to use an external portable drive on it. If it has the internal, that's great. But for some reason, companies are getting away from that because you can, download a lot of different things, and you don't always need a DVD player. So, and it also gives more room for a company to put more things in the laptop without having to have that DVD. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch a little on the laptops and the hardware. We're going to go into talking about security for your computer. That's going to be the next topic. We're going to go into security. Getting into security for your computer. So, what is security? Well, obviously, being safe on the internet, you want to have some protection from viruses. You want to have uh, applications that can do different things to protect you from different types of threats on the internet, which is there's all kinds of different threats that people may overlook, but you got viruses and you got spyware and different types of Trojans and keyloggers and all various different things people can send out to try to steal your information online while you're on your computer. And so there's programs to help you, protect yourself from that. Most of the time, what's most common is antivirus, because you want to be protected from most viruses that you can get. There's several different antiviruses on the market. I mean, you can literally pay anything for an antivirus for a computer, but then again, I use a lot of free ones, which I recommend. And most people don't know that Windows Defender is built into Windows 10 and Windows 11. So you have an antivirus built into your computer already that you can run. If you want to have a secondary one, that's okay too. You can have a free version of like AVG or Avast. Those are the main free versions, which are very good, and I've used a lot of them, and I still use them on my computers and customers' computers today. And they are good. They work good. They do just like what a paid version would do, except you most likely have to update it yourself, which is not a problem. So then you got to think about like spyware remover programs. There's a lot of them out there, like CCleaner, like Malwarebytes, like Super Anti-Spyware Remover. The list goes on and on. There's probably 50 different programs that you can get to protect yourself from different types of infections that you can get online. And then personally, I use the free ones also, which are pretty good, and they do the job, like CCleaner, like Malwarebytes, and Super Anti-Spyware. These are also free versions. You can get the paid versions, which will give you a little bit more options. But those are some of the main ones that you can get. And then registry cleaners are important. What is a registry cleaner? Well, that goes into your Windows operating system and looks for files that you might have deleted at some point, or when you uninstall the program, it leaves behind files and stuff in your Windows, and the files could be scattered all around your operating system. What the registry cleaner does is it goes in and looks for those files and deletes them and tries to clean up your operating system. And that's a good thing to do, is use a registry cleaner. And there's also a lot of things that you could do, because security and maintenance kind of go hand in hand. You know, security is programs that we talk about that you protect yourself online with. But maintenance is another part of security, because if you can manually clean temporary files off your computer and keep your computer running better, that'll also help protect you. Protect you from viruses, infections, and also protect you from your computer not running that good. Because when your computer's not running that good, you're more susceptible to these problems. So protecting your computer by doing security is great, but maintenance is also a form of protection, meaning going into your browser and cleaning out browsing history, going into your Windows operating system, cleaning out the temporary files, doing disk scan on your computer to get the files back on your hard drive in the proper order. And there's different settings on your computer that you could change. There's settings that make your computer slower that you can change to make it a little faster, and there's a lot of different settings and a lot of different tips and tricks that you can use and you can change on your computer to make it perform better. And I talk a lot about that in my videos and explain how to use them. So those, the maintenance is like hand in hand with the security, so you're going to get like double type of protection. A lot of people talk about firewalls and VPNs. You could use a firewall if you have sensitive information that will protect you from people coming into your computer and, compromising your safety. VPNs also can be effective at a certain level if you're a business. Businesses mainly use these things to give it a second layer of protection from people trying to steal their information or financial information or banking information or just information in general that you may have on your computers in your company, and you don't want that to be compromised. Now, I talk about backups, and I'm going to talk about doing backups here because that's part of your security, is doing backups. Backups not only will protect your information because it won't be on your computer, you'll have a separate drive with your information, but it will also clean up your computer because all that information won't be on your computer all the time. So doing backups is very important, If you have information on your computer that's very important, you don't want to lose, I always recommend, getting yourself like a USB type external hard drive like this. You can get them in any box store, and plugging it into your USB, and then periodically saving your information. That's important information that you don't want to lose. Saving it onto a drive, saving it onto CDs, saving it onto DVDs. You can save it on the cloud. There's different things you can hire, pay a company to do it for you. If you're a business, they will do the backups for you at a time like when you're not using the computer, like at night. There's a lot of options for that, but the basic option would be just for yourself is to have an external drive and put that information that is important on there, whether it be, Word documents, pictures, videos, things like that, man. Putting it on there. If your computer ever crashes or breaks down, you won't have to worry about losing it, and you'll have that on the side once you get your computer straightened away, or a new computer. That information could always be put back on, or you could use that information that you saved on a different system. So you have a couple options there to save your information, which is definitely part of security, because you don't want to lose anything. You don't want people to steal anything off of your computer, and people are always trying to do it out there with these different programs that they use. So backup, is a great thing, and not just putting these files and information, videos and pictures on there, but also putting programs on there. So if you have to reinstall programs, you have these different applications on your external drive. It's a lot easier for you to go in there and just install them back on a computer. Or you can use, a lot of people use Ninite, which is a good website where you could download a lot of programs at once. That's another option you can use. There's so many different options, but I'm talking about the basics. That way you get an idea of what's out there and what you need to look for and what you need to protect yourself for. And these programs are very good, and a simple backup system is really important. I always keep USB drives handy in case I need them for backing up stuff. I even have Windows operating systems on them, and start up USBs to install Windows and put programs on there and things like that. And data, they're very good. You can buy them now from 8 gigs all the way up to like 8 terabytes. So you can buy very small ones or very big ones that will hold a lot of information on them. Years ago, you couldn't get good ones because they didn't have the technology, but now there's really no excuse for you not backing up information, because there's a lot of mediums that you could put that information on now. Whether, like I said, DVDs, the cloud, a company doing it, or you doing it yourself, which I recommend using an external device like a USB pen drive or a USB hard drive. Very important to have. If you don't want to lose anything, it's essential to have that. We're going to go away from security right now, and we're going to talk about software and some more about that in a few minutes. This segment, we're going to be talking about things like what are you going to do on your computer, and do you have enough computer power to do that? So I want to talk a little bit about, people ask me, well, is my computer good enough, or I don't have a good enough computer to do such and such. Um, if you're just going online and checking your email, maybe going to YouTube or watching videos and just downloading some stuff and not doing too much, a basic computer is adequate. Maybe 8 gigs of memory would be enough. When Windows 10, that should be enough to do basic stuff. But if you're going to do video editing and gaming and high-end stuff like that, where you're going to make videos and also you're going to store stuff on your computer and you're going to do video editing, you would need a computer that is faster, more memory, like 16 gigs of memory or even more, if possible. It really depends on your budget. And a decent SSD hard drive, maybe a terabyte or more, and a decent GPU video card in your computer. Those are the things you'll need. Microphone, webcam, or video cam, those type of things, because you're going to be making videos, so you're going to use your phone, or you're going to use a camera. You're going to make the videos, and then you're going to download them and maybe put them on YouTube and different social medias. So you want to have a computer that is more high end and faster and able to do these different things. That's really important. When you're doing high-end stuff, you need a better computer. Simple as that. It don't have to be the fastest computer in the world. It don't have to be the greatest computer, but it has to be fast enough to process all this information. So you want to have more memory. You want to have a fast hard drive. You want to have a 8 or even a higher GPU from 4 gigs on up, and that type of thing. So you're going to have to get a better computer or upgrade the computer you have in order to do that. And people ask me all the time, like, what's a good computer? What do you use? What do you like? Well, there's really two options as far as computers. One thing is you can buy what people have been buying for years, computers off the shelf in big box stores, name brands like Dell, HP, different brands, and they are adequate enough to do what you need to do. But if you want to make sure your whole computer is specific to all the best parts that you can get and the best performance, then you have to have a custom built computer built from scratch with all the best parts that you can afford as far as your budget. If you want something high end, something that will, be sustainable and you can do everything you need to do, then you won't be looking for a computer off the shelf. You'll have to buy the case, you'll have to buy all the different parts, and you'll have to assemble it yourself or have somebody that's knowledgeable put everything together and build it for you. A custom computer. So it really has no name, there's really no brand, but the processor is going to be either Intel or AMD. You're either going to have an AMD graphics card or NVIDIA, okay? But these are high performance parts. You're going to have a lot of memory, RAM memory. You're going to have a decent SSD hard drive and fans for cooling if it's a desktop, because you want it to run cool and quiet. all the desktop fans today are quiet fans, so you want to make sure you have adequate cooling. You don't want your computer to run hot, because the more performance you have, the hotter it's going to run. So you have to have the fans to cool it down if it's a desktop. That's important as far as circulation in the case, where the air is flowing from the fans, cooling down your parts while you're using it. Because if you're a gamer and you use your computer for hours and hours on end, these parts are going to get hot. It's just electronics. It's just, that's just how it is. Parts are going to heat up. So you have to have adequate cooling, which I spoke of in the last couple of videos, is you have to have adequate fans. And if you buy a custom computer, that goes along with it. Sometimes they have fans on the top, fans on the sides, and some fans will blow in and some fans will blow exhaust, pushing the air out, the hot air out, bringing in cool air. So you may have fans on the top, inside your desktop that are on top, bringing in cool air, and you might have a fan on the side, internally on the side, that's pushing the hot air out, keeping it in a circular to keep everything cooler. That's what you need, and that's what you get when you have higher end desktop computer, because you need to keep it cool, because you're doing different things. You're working your computer a lot harder. These parts are high performance, and they're working very hard, and they're high performance. It's just like having a high performance car. If you have a big, strong, beefed up engine in that car, engine's gonna get hot, right? So same thing with a computer, no difference. The more power you have, the more heat is going to be generated. So the cooling is another important part, which I spoke about in other videos, and that's what you're going to have if you build or have somebody build a custom computer for you. And so there is no name brand, but the processor is really the name brand. What do you have? I have an Intel custom computer, or I have a AMD custom computer, but it's custom to you, custom to what the specifications that you want. That's really the difference. If you buy a computer off the shelf, you're not going to always get the best parts, because these companies use parts from a lot of different vendors, but they're not always the best parts. You may have a halfway decent processor and not a lot of memory. You might not have a great motherboard that has upgradability to it. When you build a custom computer, you're going to use a custom motherboard, which is going to have, a lot of extra things that you can add on to it to make it better. So you're starting out with a better foundation if you want to do gaming and video editing and those types of things. So that's really the difference. For basic use, AMD, having a Dell or having an HP is fine, off the shelf. But if you want to do, like I said, if you're going to do high-end stuff, gaming, video editing, AutoCAD, things like that, you're going to need a computer that's going to be a high performance computer, and that's going to be custom built and be a homemade computer. So I do that. I do custom builds depending on your budget. I build the computer, you get the parts, I put it all together, and that's how you do it. You can even buy custom computers already built. Companies today are selling, high-end computers that are already built. You don't have to do anything except pay for it and hook it up, and there you go. So it really depends on what you want. It's like if you have a hot rod car you could put this hot rod engine in there, or you could put this hot rod engine in there. It really depends on your budget, how much you can afford, and the prices of the parts. Sometimes you can find parts, on sale, and you have to do your shopping around and make sure the parts work with each other and they're compatible with each other. Most parts are, but there's a website called Parts Picker, PC Parts Picker, and they do the compatibility for you. So if you want a high-end motherboard, they'll match it with memory and all these different things, and just to make sure everything you're getting is going to be working together and without any kind of problems. So that ends the segment of talking about different PC upgrades and things like that. If you want better video, you get a better video card. If you want your computer to run faster, you get a high-end processor and add more memory to it. And make sure you have an SSD hard drive. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about hard drives. There's a couple different kinds of hard drives, and we're going to talk about the difference with them hard drives. The older hard drives would have been in computers for years are hard drives that look like this. Okay, it's type of hard drive that's in a desktop computer. Obviously, it's bigger. If you have a laptop, it's a real small hard drive. It's about that big. It's very small. But that's a mechanical hard drive. And what's a mechanical hard drive is that it has parts in there that move. It has a platter that spins around and all your information's on that platter. And then it has a arm that moves around too to find your information so it can read it and it can write on your computer. So there's a write-read arm. These hard drives run at 5,400 RPMs or 7,200 RPMs. Now, that's the older hard drive. The newer hard drives are very small, and they're SSD hard drives, and this is a laptop or a desktop one. You can use it in either one. And these are about, 20 times faster than the big one. They have no moving parts in it, and it is based on the same technology that you have in your USB where you plug it in. So this is kind of like having a big hard drive, but one of these, but a lot more space. So today is, in your computer, you want to have an SSD hard drive. A lot of companies make them, but this is what it looks like, and it's called SSD, solid state hard drive, and it runs a lot faster than a regular hard drive. There is another hard drive, it's called M2. It's a little small metal hard drive that goes into your motherboard, and it runs a lot faster than even the SSD hard drive. The only issue with that is they do get very hot. So I recommend using an SSD, and they're not as fast as the M2, but they're still fast enough, but they don't get very hot compared to the M2. A lot of people that do gaming and high-end editing will use the M2, but you have to be careful because they do heat up fast, and they don't last a whole long time. If they overheat, they could burn out, so you have to be careful. I see a lot of them getting replaced because of that reason. So I recommend SSD hard drive. And they work very good and they last a long time. And just like the big hard drive, you can get them in all different sizes. This is an older one, 250 gig. You can get up until 8 terabytes now, or 4 terabytes with the SSD hard drive, which is very small and compact. It's made of plastic compared to the big old metal one. This is plastic and metal, but you want to get rid of this old bulky one and you want to get an SSD. That'll make your computer run a lot faster. And you can save the information from your, regular hard drive and put it on your SSD also. So that's what a lot of people are doing. Or you start from scratch, put in the SSD, then put your Windows on and all your files on that. That's what you really need to do. 2023 and beyond. Who knows what they're going to come out with next, but we have very good technology now for computers, mainly because of the SSD, solid state hard drive, and the capability of the GPUs, the video cards that go in desktops. They're very fast. You're doing gaming, everything shows up on the screen. The more GPU gigabytes you have, the better it's going to be in your computer. So those are things to think about when you're going to be building a gaming system. You want to get the most gigabytes that you can afford to make your games run smoother. Hey everybody, welcome back. Mike here from Mike's Computer Tips. We're going to get into talking about setup. I think setup is a good thing to talk about. A lot of people ask me about my setup, how I have my computer set up, and I'm going to go into that, but I want to talk to you in general about setup, what kind of computer do you have? What is, how do you have it set up? Do you have your tower on the floor? Do you have a carpet on the floor? Make sure you're getting circulation around your desktop. If you keep it on the floor, don't push it all the way to the wall, and have circulation around it and let them. In other words, you want your fans to be able to blow out or blow in to keep your computer cool if you have a desktop. If you keep it up on a table, that's fine, as long as the fans have room for the air to dissipate or the air to suck in if the fan is sucking in. That's real important. Another thing is, do you have a big tower, or a small tower, a mid tower? Because the people don't understand is they want something. Some people like the real big tower. Some people like a small desktop. But the thing is, if you have a real small one or a mid tower, and it's like a kind of a high-end computer, you don't have a lot of circulation going on in there. There's not a lot of room for the air to flow because there's just no room, where the air can just blow all around. That's why full-size towers are probably the best thing to have when building or having a gaming system, because you could have fans on the top, fans on the side, wherever, and it's a lot of space in there for the air to blow around, and that's what you need to cool the computer down, to make it cooler while you're doing your gaming. Because gaming, everything's getting hot. When you're doing video editing, if you have a bigger tower, it's going to be better because everything in there is getting hot, but your fans have room to blow the air around. A smaller tower, you just don't have that option. So what I always like to do is, if you have a small tower, let that be a basic computer that you're just going on the internet, surfing the web, and things like that. Don't have a small tower as far as your high-end system where you're going to be doing gaming or editing. If you have a high-end laptop, that's another thing. You can put that on your desk. As long as the vent is blowing the air out and it's keeping it decently cool, you're okay. But if you want a high-end desktop, make sure you have a full tower, a big enough tower where the air can move around. Very important. I have two high-end desktops here in the the towers are big. They're very big, actually bigger than a regular tower. But that's because it's older. I don't have newer computers. My desktops are Dell. I have 2 Dells and an HP. And the HP is just I'll show you. Just a smaller desktop that I use. It's right here. And I use that for basic stuff. I don't do anything crazy on there. Just playlists and eBay and whatever I feel like doing. I do it on this computer. I also have my towers, and I'll show you them later on underneath, which are much faster, and you know, they do everything. So I'm trying to situate myself so you can see everything. Alright, bring that back over. I don't want my mic to get in the way, but yeah, and I have a basic microphone, you know, and it's a Blue Snowball. It's a really good Snowball Eyes. These are like $40 or $50, and I think it sounds pretty good. I never really have any complaints. People say it sounds pretty good. I mean, you could pay anything for a microphone, anywhere from $10 to, you know, a couple $1,000 if you want. But I just wanted to have decent sound. I'm trying to spend a lot of money or go crazy. So $40, $50 for me is a good investment, and I could do all my videos and the recordings. And this recording here, and I do all my recordings on OBS, and I use my this microphone here, which I really like. So you know, that's an important thing, is like, you know, if you're gonna do high-end stuff, you know, have a big desktop with the fans going. Now the fans are quiet. You know, you don't have loud fans in computers now, because all the fans are quiet, cool fans. They're very silent fans. So you can buy, all the fans that you buy today are going to be very quiet, so silent fans. And that's what I recommend, because you don't want to hear a lot of, you know, desktop noise from your fans while you're, you know, doing recording or any kind of video, you know. So you want to have a fan that's quiet, and that's really important, you know, to have. Laptop fans are pretty quiet too, as long as it's running right, as long as it's working right. It'll come on and it'll shut down. That's really how it's supposed to go. When your laptop gets hot, the fan will come on and it will cool it, and then it'll shut the fan off. If your fan is just running all the time or making noise, you definitely have to get that checked out, because it's not working properly. And remember, laptops are really small and enclosed area, so you know, you want to get as much cooling as possible, because you're really confined to that small form factor, which is the laptop itself, which is not like a big system. So you got to have your cooling right on your laptop, and that's really important. I personally like to use these keyboards. These are wireless. Logitech makes them, and I tend to use these wireless keyboards. They're just small enough to use, and they're not real big. And to me, they're pretty good. They work on batteries, and you can move them around. I like them. They're not real bulky. Like some people may like the big bulky keyboards for desktop, and I like the smaller one. And then it has a touchpad on it, so you don't need a mouse. You know, you got the pad right built into it, and I like to do that. You know, I like to move it around, and it doesn't take a lot of space, and it's wireless too. So whatever you feel comfortable with is up to you. I'm more of a desktop person. Like I said, not a laptop person. I don't like to be like cramped up on a laptop. You know, to me it's kind of confined. But I like the big screen of a desktop, and I have my office here, so I like the whole setup, like to do that. To just be home and do my computer work at home in my office. So yeah, that's important. Is to have a comfortable, quiet area where you can do your videos, your recordings. And now today, a lot of kids like these gaming systems with all the lights and everything. I mean, if I was a young kid, I might like that too, but personally, I don't like all the lights and stuff on the desktop, and the fans with all the neon lights. And to me, that's a big distraction. I mean, personally, but if you're a kid that likes gaming, you might think that's cool. So that's really popular, is having all the aesthetics, having all the bells and whistles. For me, it's all about performance, how it works, and I don't really go for any of that, but it's very popular for the younger generation. When I was a kid, they didn't even have computers, so that's something that is a big thing with all the neon and colors, and even now they have the water cooling system on the computer, and you can change the color. Like you can have purple colored water running through it, and you can see it through the glass. So a lot of people like that. If you're a gamer, that's the kind of stuff you probably like. Because it's like it's all together in like the gaming community. You got the fancy computer, the fast computer, and then all the extras. But for regular use, just to have a fast computer, I like the basics. Enough memory. My computers have 16 gigs of memory, and I have an Intel i9 processor, or an i7, one or the other. I think it's an i7, which is pretty fast. And then I have the SSD hard drive, which is pretty fast. And then I have a second hard drive where I save information to. And then I have the webcam, which I use. I have two webcams when I do video. I have webcams that I use. I have them on tripods, and that's how I do it. And they're just little basic webcams. One's a Logitech. I don't know if you can see that. One's a Logitech, and one is a different brand, like an off-name brand. But they both work pretty good. And I use my microphone, through my computer, and then all my videos are going through my regular microphone. I don't use the microphone on the webcam. You can use that. Webcams have the built-in microphone, but it will sound better if you have an external microphone. Your sound will, compared to a webcam. For some reason, they don't have very good microphones. I mean, it's good enough to work, but it's not like any high-end type of thing. You know what I mean? So you may, if you're doing videos, you may want to get yourself a separate microphone, which you'll really like. And what I like most about it is the sound is better than the webcam, but also it blocks out a lot of background sound. I have a fan going, and a lot of people say they don't really hear the fan. And if I use the webcam microphone, it sounds like I got a machine running in here. So that's one good thing. Other than the sound quality is better, you don't hear a lot of background when you have a better, a decent microphone, or you can even talk closer up to it and you sounds better like this the closer you are. So I like that idea also. And if I talk low, it still comes across okay. It still picks everything up, which is a good thing. So I like my setup the way I have it. And I always tell people ask me all the time, like, what kind of computer should I get? What brand, or, and I always tell people, get the computer that, suits your needs. What are your needs, basically? You have to look at it like that first. Like if your computer's not that not that fast, and it's kind of slow, and you want to make it faster, and you can upgrade it. You can put a bigger hard drive in, a SSD hard drive, with like maybe 1 terabyte, so you have enough space to save things. And also you may want to add more memory. If your computer is able to add more memory to it, then you add more memory, and that'll speed it up. You may want to add a GPU card, a gaming card, graphic card. You add that onto it, and that'll make it a lot better too. If you're going to do video editing and gaming, you really need at least a 4 gig graphic card. You can go 4 gigs, 8 gigs, all the way on up. It really depends on your budget and your needs. But a 4 or an 8 gig card will do the basic stuff, on video editing. Now, if you want to do like high-end gaming, then I would recommend you getting maybe a 16 gig card or a 12 gig, or depending on your budget, and how much room you have in your computer. Because you got to remember, a GPU card is 4 gig is kind of like this big, and an 8 gig is just a little bit bigger. But if you're going to a 16 gig video card, it's going to be like that long. And will it fit in your case? That's another thing you have to consider, because the bigger cards have 3 fans on them, and the 4 gig and the 8 gig cards, they have 2 fans. So when you get up to the faster video cards, gaming cards, you got to remember that it's going to be bigger. So you got to make sure it fits in your case, and you may have to move one of your fans out of the way so it fits. So you got to get the measurements right. Make sure you get the measurements, and then look in your case and see what it will definitely fit or not. Because sometimes I put in GPU cards in people's computers, and I have to move the fan because the card is too big. I recently put a 24 gig into a big gaming system, and the card would bang into the fan, so I had to move the fan. I had to take the fan. Sometimes you got to take the fan out, or you got to move the fan. So remember that when you're upgrading your gaming system, or you're upgrading your computer to make it into a gaming system or make it faster. Will that card fit? And another thing that's real important is, when you have a 4 gig GPU video card or an 8 gig, you can have your 650 or 750 watt power supply, and that's enough power to pull all the power on all your stuff. But when you're going up higher, if you're going to put in a 12 or 16 gig video card or even higher, you have to get a 1,000 watt power supply. So you have to replace your power supply and get a 1,000 watt power supply so it can handle all that extra power. You see, because the more things you run in your computer, the more power you're going to need. If you just have a regular computer, a desktop, just doing basic chores like email and surfing the web, eBay or whatever, you could have a 5, 6, 750 watt power supply. But when you start doing the real high-end stuff, then you got to put the 1,000 watt power supply in if you're going to use a bigger video card. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And I'm going to do a video on more about gaming, and that way you get a good idea about what you need as far as gaming goes. I'm going to do a separate video on that, so I don't want to talk too much about it in this setup video. So just so you know that gaming and high-end video editing is on a higher level. Basic computer, doing internet, surfing the internet, printing, running programs, email, doing eBay, that's on a lower level computer. Any computer can do that as long as it's Windows 10 and it has basically 4 gigs or 8 gig memory. The computer and a good and decent internet, your computer will be able to do the basic stuff. When you get the high-end stuff, it costs more money for the parts, and you have to have the high-end parts in order to have that fast gaming computer or that fast editing machine. So you have to remember that. It's like having a car. If you're going to have a regular basic car that just gets you from point A to B, without all the extras, won't cost as much as having a real fast sports car with the big engine and all the high performance stuff, or even a pickup truck with the lift kits and all that. That's the same thing with gaming and high-end editing. You have to pay more money for all that stuff because it's all high performance. It's all high performance stuff, and it's more expensive. So, okay, I'm going to end this video now. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave it in, leave it on YouTube, and I'll get back to you on any questions you have. Leave it in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already, and share out the video so your friends or your family can learn a lot about their computer also. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. This is Mike from Mike's Computer Tips. Hey everybody, I'm back. Mike here. Glad you're with me. This series is going to be on gaming computers, and I'm going to talk a lot about the parts and what you gotta, what you need to have a gaming system. If you want to buy one, what to look for. If you want to build one, what are the parts you'll need. Talking about everything gaming and video editing. Gaming video editing kind of goes hand in hand. If you have a gaming system, you can do, video editing because your computer is powerful enough to do that. So we're going to get into, talking about all the different things like that. So great to be here, and I'm excited to explain to you guys stuff. If you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate user, it will still help you, or an advanced user, it will still help you or familiarize you with with gaming and high-end systems. I live in Florida. I'm down here in about an hour, I'd say, away from Disney World, and it's really raining hard out there now. You may be able to hear it. I don't know if you could hear it, but it's really coming down. It's been raining for like a couple hours already. It's like not like a terrible storm, but just in the summer it rains a lot. Some days it won't rain, and other days it will just come down, During the day it'll be hot, and then at night it'll rain. That's kind of what we get in the summertime here. But without further ado, let's get into gaming systems and high-end video machines, desktop and laptop. Hey everybody, I'm back. Mike here. Glad you're with me. This series is going to be on gaming computers, and I'm going to talk a lot about the parts and what you gotta, what you need to have a gaming system. If you want to buy one, what to look for. If you want to build one, what are the parts you'll need. Talking about everything gaming and video editing. Gaming video editing kind of goes hand in hand. If you have a gaming system, you can do, video editing because your computer is powerful enough to do that. So we're going to get into, talking about all the different things like that. So great to be here, and I'm excited to explain to you guys stuff. If you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate user, it will still help you, or an advanced user, it will still help you or familiarize you with with gaming and high-end systems. I live in Florida. I'm down here in about an hour, I'd say, away from Disney World, and it's really raining hard out there now. You may be able to hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's really coming down. It's been raining for like a couple hours already. It's like not like a terrible storm, but just in the summer it rains a lot. Some days it won't rain, and other days it will just come down, During the day it'll be hot, and then at night it'll rain. That's kind of what we get in the summertime here. But without further ado, let's get into gaming systems and high-end video machines, desktop and laptop. Hey guys, back again. Glad to be here. Welcome to the next video. And in this video, I want to talk about various things about computers and computer tips. When you're dealing with a hard drive, today's hard drives are either going to be M.2 or SSD. Now, M.2 is a little skinny, flat hard drive that screws right into your motherboard, and it makes it really fast because it's right directly on your motherboard, and it's a really fast drive. I mean, it'll make your when you click on something, it'll just go. It's like having a TV, but your computer being a TV. The only problem is they do get hot if you're doing gaming, long-term gaming, like hours at a time. They do get hot, so you wouldn't want to do long gaming with an M2 unless you have some good cooling, like fans and stuff like that. Make sure they do have fans now that you can put right on that M2 on the motherboard, and it will help cool down that M2 hard drive, so you could do your gaming and stuff, and it really runs fast. I kind of like the SSDs only because they last a lot longer. They're not as fast as the M2s, but they don't heat up, so you could do gaming for hours and hours, and that SSD hard drive in your desktop or laptop, won't heat up a lot. That's real important because you don't want to overheat your computer. If your CPU gets too hot, especially in a gaming laptop where you're really confined, there's only one fan or two small fans in that laptop, and although the air does come out, a gaming laptop will get hotter than a desktop if you're not careful. So just be aware of those kind of things. So the two hard drives we have today, 2023, I'm sure they're going to be around for a while, is the SSD, and that took over the regular SATA, the big bulky SATA hard drive. Now we're just using SSD and M2. So if you don't have an SSD, make sure you get one in your computer. Make your computer run faster if you're thinking about upgrading. If you're going to keep your computer for a long time and you like your computer and you plan on keeping that, if you can add more memory to it, find out how much memory it will take and you add more memory to it and that'll make it faster. You can go over to do a search for memory on Google or go to Crucial.com. Crucial.com sells memory and they'll tell you exactly how much you can put in your computer, how many slots you have, and the maximum amount your computer will hold. That's really important to know. So make sure you go over to Crucial.com if you want to upgrade your memory. I usually get my memory from Crucial. I'd say for the last 20 years I've been getting it from Crucial, and they're really good. They have a warranty and everything. So I would definitely get my memory from Crucial. And you could do a search for it on the internet and then pull up type in your type of laptop, what the model number is and all that good stuff. And it'll come up and it'll tell you how much memory your computer will have. Then you can either order online or give them a call. If you're not sure, make sure you call them. They have decent tech support, so it'll help you out. And SSD hard drives and M2s, you can buy those on Amazon, or if you have the fast shipping, that Prime shipping is really good. Sometimes I'll buy the hard drives and I'll get it like the next day. YouTube or wherever you can get the best deal, for the hard drive. And, sometimes when you buy more than one, you get an even better deal. So if you have a couple computers that you want to upgrade and you buy a couple of hard drives, sometimes you'll get a discount. And also, the memory and the hard drive, that's where you can get it. eBay is good too, but the shipping takes a little bit longer. So, and then you got to remember, it depends on how big you want the hard drive. SSDs hard drives, they'll start at like 120 gig. Then they have a 240. Then they have like a 320, I think. I could be wrong, but I know they have a 500 gig, and then they have 750, I believe, and then 1 terabyte. And you could probably go higher after that, but nobody really needs more than a terabyte on their computer, unless you're going to have one hard drive for your, you're going to save a lot of stuff. Then you would need more space. So you could, get as big as you want or as small as you want, and they're still good. And they all work a lot faster than the mechanical hard drive, the old the big giant ones with the silver with the right read arm and the platter, and then you look at your power button and it blinks a lot, and that's when it's trying to find your data. That's what that blinking does. So definitely check into it if you're going to upgrade. And then if you're going to upgrade the video card, you can go online and you can get yourself an NVIDIA, AMD card, or whatever card you like and fits inside your system. I know on a laptop you're pretty proprietary to what you can get. The video cards, a lot of them are built in to the laptop. Some of them sit right on top of the motherboard, so you can change them if you can get one that's faster. You just have to take it all apart and install it on there. Another thing, on laptops, people ask me about the internal parts on a laptop. Now, you got to remember, there's a little small Wi-Fi card in your laptop, and it's on the bottom. And then it connects to 2 wires, and those two wires come up the side of your screen, and then they meet in the middle of your screen, on the top of your screen in the center. So that's where you're getting all your Wi-Fi capability from. If you have a laptop, is your whole screen is actually your Wi-Fi antenna, starting in the middle where your keyboard is, like in the center, and then it comes around, goes up, and then it comes to the top of your screen. So that's your Wi-Fi antenna. On a desktop, you have it built in, or you have a small antenna in the back, and that's your Wi-Fi. But I tell you, as far as desktops and laptop goes, Ethernet. I know Wi-Fi is very popular, and a lot of people like to use their laptop in different rooms. And you got your cell phone with the Wi-Fi, so you connect to it in your house or your apartment. But you also got to remember, like if you have a desktop computer, the best way to connect would be, the fastest and the most stable connection is Ethernet. Hey, Mike here, Mike's Computer Tips. You have to listen to your fans sometimes, If your fans are making weird noises, they might be dirty, like in your desktop. If it speeds up, it slows down, or if you notice dust in your fans, keep a notice to that. Every once in a while, unplug the power of your desktop, open the side up, and check your fans. Check the power supply fan too. That's the one right in the back of your desktop. It's either on the bottom or the top. And if there's a lot of dust in there, get that compressed air or a vacuum cleaner and make sure you clean it all out. And and then the computer will run cooler. Keep an eye on the sounds of your fans. Very important, especially the sounds of and also the sounds of your laptop, because if your laptop fan keeps on coming on, shutting down, coming on, you might have a problem with overheating on your laptop. So definitely keep an eye out for that sounds. If your fan's not working right, you'll have to clean it or take it to a shop and have somebody make sure it's okay, it's working right, and it's clean. Because you have to keep that laptop and your desktop fans clean all the time. You don't want to get too much dust on there, because the more dust is on there, the hotter it's going to get. And also your computer screen, every once in a while take some Windex very lightly with paper towel and clean it really gently, or take a paper towel and dampen it with water and clean your screen off with that, and the back of your monitor, and anywhere there's dust on your keyboard. And if you got like stuff in your keyboard, blow it out. If you're using an old style mouse with the ball in it, make sure every once in a while you twist the bottom open and clean the dust out of there. And there's like a little cylinder that runs that gets dust on it. Make sure you take the dust off of that, because that allows the ball to roll, your mouse ball to roll. Once you take the ball out, look inside it. Usually there's dust inside on this metal thing. So you pull the dust off of that, blow it out, take some alcohol and clean your mouse ball. Let that dry first. Once it's dry, put it back in and take some alcohol lightly with paper towel and clean the top of your mouse. Lightly clean the top of your mouse and the bottom of your mouse. Disinfectant, that will disinfect everything. Very important too. You don't want to wet your keyboard a lot either. Like if you're using a regular keyboard, you don't want to wet it a lot. Make sure you when you're cleaning it, just take the air and just go gently between the keys. And you can take a paper towel with a little water or alcohol, just very lightly, and go over the top and the bottom of it. But I would not Drench it in water or alcohol because it may not work after. So don't put much of it on there, and just enough so it's clean and it's disinfected. You can do that with your tower or your laptop also. Just be very careful you don't put that much liquid on it because it can, if you put too much, it can prevent it from working. It's very important that you clean it properly. When you're cleaning a laptop, you want to take that air in between the keys, make sure it's shut off, and in between the keys, get as much dust that's in between your keys on your laptop, and then you can very lightly, put it gently with a paper towel on a tiny bit of alcohol or water, and just go gently on it. You could even do that with the bottom of the laptop too, very gently. Clean the dust off, clean your desk, make sure everything is in good order, and make sure everything's dry too before you plug anything in. You want to make sure everything's dry so it'll work better. It'll work again. You don't want to use the keyboard if it's damp. Give it some time, let it dry, and then use it. Same thing for a webcam. If you have a webcam, every once in a while, take a paper towel with a little water and just clean the lens off, or the lens cleaning cloth is perfect. You just go around the lens. Do the same thing with your cell phone. You have a cell phone, and you do videos with it, or you take pictures. Make sure you get the lens cloth and clean the outside, the different cameras on it, and especially the one in the front. Clean that one too. That little black thing, make sure you clean that good. I do that on a regular basis. I use a tiny bit of water, or I use paper towel. I have these little things where I clean my glasses. You can get them in any store, and they're just alcohol wipes. Open them up. I'll clean my glasses. I'll clean my screen with my phone. I'll clean my cameras, and then I'll just throw it away and use another one maybe that night or the next day. And I'll do the same thing every couple days. If my glasses are dirty, I'll clean my glasses, and then I'll clean my phone, because you get a lot of germs on your phone from touching it. And also wash your hands a lot if you can. Make sure you wash your hands because your phone has a lot of germs. And then if you're touching your keyboard a lot and your mouse, you can get a lot of germs on there. So make sure you wash your hands pretty often, because you don't want to, after you use your computer, wash your hands, because you might be touching your face or touching something or whatever. Sometimes I'll wipe my eye or something, and you can get germs. So you have to wash your face real good and wash your hands. Very important when you're around your computer, because your keyboard, your mouse, your cell phone, anything that you touch, you can get a lot of germs on it. You don't have to be a fanatic, but you definitely want to keep everything decently clean, because it'll go a long way if you do that. Hey everybody, Mike here from Mike's Computer Tips. Great to be with you again. In this video I'm going to talk about different computer stuff, tips and tricks mostly, and just telling you about different things so you can pick it up and learn if you want to make your computer faster, if you want to have your computer shut down faster or start up faster. I do this series called Tip of the Day. I come out with a short video on YouTube every day, and it is called the Tip of the Day. And every day I talk about like something different. Like, let's say for example, one video is how to shut your computer off a different way. And if you hold down the Windows and the X key and push down the U key twice, that's another way that you can shut down your computer. So a lot of people um, like that tip because it's a lot easier to do instead of going to the regular procedure, which we all do. Start, shut down, or update and stuff like that. But yeah, I come out with that. I'm also on TikTok. Just about every day I put a video on TikTok. I'll make a video on YouTube and I'll download the video and then I'll save it in my photos and I'll attach it to TikTok and then I'll put it on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'll put it on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. You can add me on Facebook too if you want. On there, my name is Mike, Locascio. You can add me on Facebook. Mostly I'm on Facebook, and I belong to a bunch of groups on there, and I'll post videos to the groups. And I'm also on Instagram, so you can add me on Instagram. The social medias I use the most are Facebook, and I use Facebook, and I also use YouTube a lot. So between Facebook and YouTube, that's where I'll be most of the time. So definitely, add me on Facebook, and I'll put you down as a friend. But yeah, that's a good thing, and I do that. Like I said, the tip of the day, I'll make a video and give a tip, and then I'll put it on the different platforms. I'm on Instagram, like I'll put it on there, and then I go to Twitter. I usually tweet out my video on Twitter, so I go on there also and I put my videos on there. So between Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook groups, that's where I usually put my videos. So I want to spread them around so a lot of people can watch them. And if you're a creator, that's a good thing to do. A lot of people tell me they're on this social media, but they're not on the other ones. Some of them I really didn't like, so I didn't join, or I tried it out and I didn't care for. The ones that I like are Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and TikTok is okay. There's a lot of junk on there, but once you get past the junk, there's a lot of good people on TikTok, and you could learn a lot being on there if you're just following the right people. It really depends on who you follow and stuff like that. So those are the places where I put my videos, and you can always find my videos on them places. And definitely, if you're not a subscriber of my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell and make sure it's on all. That way, when a new video comes out, you'll be the first one to see it. So, and also leave a comment. Just tell me you saw my video or something, or if you have a computer question about anything related to your computer, or you have a problem with your computer, definitely leave it on in the comments, and then I'll get back to you and I'll help you out with that problem or whatever's going on with your computer. I'll give you some advice, tell you what to do. So those are the social medias that that I am on, and I like those. I like those the most. And you may already be a follower of mine on there. Who knows? But if you're not, Mike's Computer Tips. That's the name, and the only difference is that on Facebook I have a couple of accounts, but the one I use most is just my name, which is Mike Locascio, and I'll even write it down just so you know who to add. just that's how you spell my last name. So if you go over to Facebook and just add me on there, or send me a friend's request, and I'll add you, Mike Locascio. That's how you spell it. I'll leave it up there a little longer that way. If you're not sure, add me on Facebook, and I have my own couple of my own groups on there, and I'll add you to those groups also. Most of the groups that I am joined on Facebook, because they have a lot of groups. Most of the groups are like buy and sell groups, because I do sell stuff and I do buy stuff off of a marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. If you don't use it, you should check it out. It's a good place to buy stuff and sell stuff too. And it doesn't cost anything. And you could post anything you want for sale on there. And it's a good place to go. Also, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I belong to a lot of groups in my town, which I live in Brevard County, Florida, about an hour away from Disney World in Orlando. So I'm like an hour away from there, and I fix computers. I have a side business where I go around and fix computers for people, and people bring their computers to me, and I've been doing that for close to 25 years, I would say. And I enjoy doing that. I do that like part-time. So I'm always advertising my business. My business name is MSL Computer Repair, and I am on Google My Business, and I post to a lot of those groups. So if anybody wants their computer fixed, or even if you have a laptop or a desktop and you want to mail it to me, just let me know in the comments and we'll arrange that. As long as you pay the shipping, then I'm okay, and I'll give you a good price on whatever it needs. But yeah, I do that too. So it's always a good thing, if you want your computer fixed, or you want help, you have any questions, you can always ask me. And you can find me on Facebook or YouTube, because I'm on YouTube a lot. If I'm not on my computer making a video or watching videos, I'm on my phone, and I'm on that. I have that on all the time, so you can always find me on there, on Instagram, Facebook, or what's it called, YouTube. I'm like, what? Like I'm forgetting. But yeah, that's a good thing. And now, a couple videos I made were about cleaning your computer, making sure your fans were clean, and making sure your computer was running good, because all the dust that accumulates on your desktop computer fans will clog up and make it where your computer won't get enough ventilation, and it will get hot. And I made a couple videos on that recently. You probably already saw them. But what I did was I started cleaning my own computers. Every once in a while I'll do the same thing. I'll unplug my computer, take it apart, and then I'll clean the fans. I'll take a little brush or compressed air and shake it up and spray it in the fans and clean all the dust out of the motherboard. I'll even take a feather duster I have over there, and I'll go over with a feather duster once all that old dust is off the fan, so it can keep it cool. And I'm going to do a video of one of my computers, and I'm going to show you exactly what to look for. Mostly in the CPU fan, in the heat sink it gets stuck in there, and in your case fans it gets stuck in there, and in your power supply you have to look at the power supply too on both sides. If you have a fan, usually the fan on the power supply is on the bottom or it's on the back, Most computers, the fan is on the back, but a lot of the high-end power supplies, the fan is on the bottom. So that's very important to do, and I'm going to do a video and show you guys how I do it, and definitely get started doing that because it's really important. You want to keep your fans clean, you want to keep your computer running good, and the best way to do that is do maintenance. You don't have to do it all the time, but every couple months you should go over everything. I clean your computer screen, clean your webcam, clean your keyboard. You can clean your keyboard real good, and your desktop computer inside and out. Make sure everything is, all the cables are connected good. There's nothing loose. Just check everything. Make sure all your fans are working too, because not only do you want to clean the fans and get all the dust off it, make sure all the fans are plugged in and working while it's running. So double check that too, because sometimes you can have a dirty fan and it's not running. So before you close it, get a flashlight and look in there and make sure the fan's running while it's going. If not, you might have to replace the fan, or it may not be plugged in all the way, and just plug it in. But you got to have cooling in your computer. That's very important as far as making the computer run cool and getting ventilation. So that's something I can't stress enough. And also doing backups, like getting yourself if you don't have one, they're pretty cheap now. You can buy one of these USB external hard drives and save all your information from your computer to your external hard drive, and then it's safe and it's off the computer. And if something happens to your computer, you don't have to worry about your important files. You just drag and drop them to your external hard drive. They're cheap enough now, so you can buy one and make sure you use it, because this is a great safeguard for your files, for your pictures, your important documents, and also your videos. Make sure you save them to an external hard drive or a USB drive for safekeeping. That way, like I said, if your computer crashes, and you won't have to worry about that. You can get your computer fixed, and then you can install the programs again that are on there, or you can install the Word documents you saved, the videos, or the pictures, or whatever important information you have. You can put it right back on the computer after it's up and running again. So backup is very important. That's like the number one thing I could tell anybody. Most important thing I could tell you about your computer and operating your computer. If you have anything important, please do backups. Make sure you can have it on your computer, a copy of something if you want, but get another copy off the computer. That way it's safekeeping. If anything goes wrong, you're good. You'll have it. That is kind of like rule number one. Make sure you do backups. And you'll be surprised. I go out and work on people's computers, and a lot of people don't do backups. They may lose data, or I have to try to get it for them. And even businesses, you'd be surprised they're not doing backups, and you need to do backups, especially if you're paying people, you have employees, or if you have financial information on your computer. You must have a copy offline just for safekeeping. That is an essential thing with a computer. If you don't have anything important, that's great. Something goes wrong, you can wipe it and you can put Windows back on. But if you have anything real important, save it. I could tell you some horror stories. I won't get into that. If you got anything, save it. Save it. Save it. It's the most important. One of the most important things that you could do is to be safe. Better safe than sorry. So with that said, I'm going to end this video, and I will see you in the next video. Today we are going to clean the fans of a desktop computer. I'm going to show you how I do it. That way you get a good idea. I'm going to have to move everything over, make some room here because it's a big desktop. And then I'm going to show you how I clean the inside with the brush and what needs to be done. So if you clean the inside of your computer, which I recommend you should, this is what you should do. In 1 second to get set up here. Don't need the keyboard. This is a big Dell tower. Not all computers are this size, but this is a very large Dell tower. Take the side off, and then you see inside the computer. Most towers are a little smaller than this. Some are a lot smaller. But this is kind of what you're going to see. I'm going to turn it on the side for a second, just so I can look inside and see how bad it is and all that good stuff. What needs to be done. And then I'll show you how I do it. That fan is pretty clean. That fan is pretty clean. I have another computer and I cleaned the fans the other day, and I realized that the fan in the front is very dirty. And I'm going to check this one. And this fan is dirty too. It's not as bad as the other one. I actually have two of the same computers. But, yeah, this has a bunch of stuff on it. And I tried to clean it up. And I tried to clean the other one and take out the fans. Sometimes it's hard to take out the fans, but a lot of the newer computers, the fans are easy to take out. All you got to do is unscrew the four screws and just slide the fan, and then you can clean it that way. Always make sure the computer's shut off when you do it, obviously. But what I'm doing is, I'm going to put this back on because this fan really isn't that bad. And I want to show you inside. Basically what I'm doing is, there's a case fan and CPU fan. Now this is the CPU fan. This is where the processor is in here. And if there's dust in there, you know, you want to clean that out. You want to get compressed air and spray it in there. Make sure the dust is out. There's also case fans. There is one on the back right here. This isn't dirty at all, but you want to clean around it and get all the dust out if there's dust on it. This one has another one. I hope you can see that one if possible. It's hard, kind of hard to see it here, but that's it. This is the one in the back. And usually, oh no, this is the one in the front, but it's very hard to see. Okay, I'll do it that way. This is the one in the front of the case, and it's kind of hard to see. But, you know, where you see the black, get my hand on it, that's the fan, which is that black thing there. And then you take a brush and you take, you also get the compressed air, and you spray it in there and you clean around the fan, you know, clean the blades of the fan, and make sure everything's clean. And make sure the motherboard's clean too. Everything inside, you want to get all the dust out. Whether you use a vacuum cleaner or compressed air or a brush or a regular artist brush, whatever works. And that's basically how to clean the fans. This is a really big desktop, so I'm going to set it on the floor now. But if you have a desktop computer, you definitely should clean your fans I'd say every 3 to 5 months, because depending on how much you use it and how much dust gets in it, it's always good to have it not pressed against the wall. If it's on the ground, the floor, if it's on a carpet, see if you can get a piece of wood and sit it up a little bit on the carpet. If it's on the carpet, if it's on your desk, that's fine. Just make sure you have a little bit of space in the back so the air can come in and out, and the fans have enough room. Because you want to have the fans a couple, at least 6 to 12 inches away from the wall, because you want to make sure the air circulates. So you want to clean that, and that's how you do it. You can use a brush. You can use the compressed air. Is good because what you do is you shake it up real good, and then you spray it in there on the fans, and it'll push a lot of that dust off. And the CPU, the one in the middle, if that doesn't have much, don't worry about it. But if it does, give it a little spray, and you want to get that whatever dust is in there off. You don't have to take the fan apart unless you know how to put it back together. So I would say, if you don't know how to put the CPU fan back together, don't take that one apart, the one in the center. But the case fans are pretty easy with the dust, with the compressed air. You'll be able to clean those pretty easy. Sometimes they're a little hard to get to, but you just have to be patient and make sure you shake the compressed air can really good. That way it don't shoot out any liquid, it just shoots out the air. And point it towards the fan, and on both sides if you have to, and just clean all the dust off it, and the fans will run smoother and the computer will run cooler. So that's a real important thing to do if you have a desktop computer, is to clean your fans. You don't have to do it all the time. Like I said, depend on the dust, or if you have smokers in the house, that'll make it get, even dustier. If people are smoking around the computer, it can get really dusty, and you don't want it to build up so much in the computer, because it could overheat the computer, and you don't want that to happen. Being the computer getting really hot, and especially if it's in a hot area, and that's very bad, because if the processor overheats and gets hot, it could ruin your computer. Processor could burn out. And also on the circuit board, on the motherboard, make sure all the dust is off of that too. And video card and the memory, and any components that are in there, make sure that's getting cleaned off. And if you see anything that's loose and not connected all the way, make sure you connect it all the way, because sometimes wires and plugs can come loose. So check your wires also while you're doing it. It's a good time when you clean your fans inside your desktop computer, that you make sure all the connections are good, make sure the memory is in all the way, and firm. Make sure your video card is in good, and that doesn't have a lot of dust on. Check the fan on that also, because those GPU cards, they can get dust on them too, and they get hot, so you want to dust around the sides of them, and any excess dust in the case, vacuum it out, or use compressed air, or use a small brush like this, and just get in anywhere there's dust, and clean it out real good, and then put the case on, and then connect all your cables again, and then you'll be ready to go. So that is basically how to clean desktop fans. Some people like to use a vacuum, some people like to use a blower in their driveway. As long as you're not damaging anything in the computer, that's all good. Just don't wet anything. Don't get anything in the computer wet. I You don't need a real powerful, vacuum or air blower, but if you can do it safely, stay back from it, and don't go right against the components. Give it some space and just make sure all the dust is out of the computer and it's clean and all the cables are connected good, and you're ready to close the side up again. Make sure that's secure. Usually you have a bolt or two on the side. Once you do that, then you're ready to plug in all your cords again. So I wanted to make this video so everybody knows how to clean their desktop fans and check for the cables, make sure everything's on right. The more you take care of it, it'll take care of you, and it will last a lot longer. So circulation, making sure it's getting enough air in the room, not too hot in the room. Make sure you have a fan going or something, or AC, and keep those fans clean, and your computer will last a lot longer. So I am going to, how long have I been doing this video? So I'm going to get into another video so we can talk about other stuff too. But it's very important to take care of your laptop and your desktop computer. I know when you buy a computer, they don't ever tell you like you got to take care of it or what to do or how to do anything. And that's my job. That's what I do. When I go to people's homes and offices, I'm looking for these things also, because if their computer's dirty, I got to clean the fans and make sure it's working properly, because that could really slow your computer down too. It's not just a heat issue inside the computer. It will also affect your hardware, and it'll make it run slower and hotter, and your software will start being sluggish and everything too, because your computer's too hot. So a cool computer is a happy computer. So you want to make sure you do maintenance on your system, and your computer will last a long time. You can always upgrade to different components, your memory, your video card, your hard drive. You can always do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you on this computer some of the components. And on this computer, here's the memory. Those sticks there are the memory. Right there, those 4 sticks, they go right into the board. And that's the memory, the RAM memory. Here's the graphic card over here. That's the graphics card, big. So I can see what it's doing. A big old card right here. That's it. That's the NVIDIA graphic card. Actually MSI, but it's made by NVIDIA. And here's your CPU. Your processor's under here, and this is a very important fan to clean, because the brains of your computer is right underneath this fan that's usually in the center of the motherboard, or off to the side a little. Okay? Very important. You've got your CPU fan, your GPU, which is your graphics card for gaming or for editing, and then you have your memory, your RAM memory, which is right here. Okay, and then your power supply is over here, where you see all those wires coming out. That's your power supply. Hey guys, we're back. Mike here, Mike's Computer Tips. I just wanted to tell you that I'm also on, as well as being on YouTube, I'm also on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook groups. And I also have my own group in Facebook, Mike's Computer Tips, Computer Help. So any of these different platforms, if you want to support my channel, go to Mike's Computer Tips. And also, if you're going to be on Facebook, you can always add me on there. It's just under my name, Mike Locascio, and I'll write it down. That way you can add me on Facebook. I have actually a couple of channels on there, but the channel I use the most is the channel with my name. So if you want me to add you, make sure you go to Facebook, type in my name, and send me a friend's request. Can't even talk. And then I'll add you to my Facebook. So that'll be cool. And if you support my channels, I will definitely support yours. I'm a very good supporter. So just want everybody to know that social media is about helping others. You know, it's really one hand washes the other. So support me, I'll support you, and we'll get each other, help each other build our channels. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you follow, like, share, and comment. If you have any computer issues, make sure you leave it in the comments, and I'll get back to you on any computer issue you have. If you have any kind of comment, please leave it there. A personal computer issue, or just something you want to know about computers, just leave it in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye. Hey everybody, this is Mike from Mike's Computer Tips. Welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the equipment, like the things that you use when you're going to fix a computer. That way you get familiar with what to do if you're going to work on your computer. And I'll show you all the things that I use. Basically, you need a Phillips screwdriver. You're going to work on laptops, you need a set, and this is a small Phillips. This is what I mainly use on laptops, but you have to have different sizes. So I have a whole bunch of different sizes. Some are regular and some are Phillips. So you have, like, I'll pull some of them out. So you have like a whole set, and they're not expensive. I mean, for $10-15 you can get a whole set of screwdrivers. There'll be about 12 or 15 screwdrivers, and some of them are the 5-point, because some computers have this like 5-point special, you know, screw. It's not really a screw, but it's similar to a screw, but that's 5-point, and you need the special screwdriver to take them off. And when you're working on Apple laptops, Apple has a very weird 5-point, so I got a couple of those 5-point ones to work on Apple laptops. And you're going to need like a whole set of screwdrivers, Phillips, regular, and the 5-point. Now when you work on desktops, basically you're going to use a regular Phillips, and these are cheap, you know, just you can get these in the dollar store. This is just a regular Stanley screwdriver. And on desktops also, sometimes you'll need a smaller regular screwdriver too. I mean, on laptops you may need this to pry like the case open, because sometimes it's hard to get the case open, and probably need that. things for prying laptop cases. And this is just like a guitar pick. This is like a piece of plastic, so you don't damage the laptop. If you can't get the case off, you have to change the memory, or you have to take the bottom of the laptop off to change the hard drive, or replace a fan in the laptop. You know, this is a good prying thing so you don't damage it. You start a little bit of section open on the laptop, and then you slowly work your way around it to pry it open. So we got the screwdrivers, and some of them are, like I said, 5-point. Those are for the Apple, when you're working on Apple products. And I have a bunch of them, and I have smaller Phillips, because on laptops sometimes you'll need a smaller Phillips screwdriver. And I also have a tube of thermal grease. And what is thermal grease? When this is what you put on your CPU. It helps cool down the CPU, your processor. So when you're changing a processor, or you're just cleaning it off, you want to get a thing of rubbing alcohol, clean off the excess thermal grease on the CPU, and then you're going to put another coat of this gray thermal grease. It comes in a couple different colors, usually white or gray, and you'll put this on the processor and spread it out evenly, and before you put the heat sink and the fan on the desktop. Or if it's a laptop, you put the thermal grease on top, clean it off, put a new layer on top of the CPU, and then you'll put your fan on the laptop back on. So you need that, and like these alcohol things to clean it. You don't want to get anything on the CPU, any of this stuff on the CPU, so you want to make sure you only do a thin layer on the CPU itself, but not all the way on the end. You just want to have a bond, create a bond for the heatsink and the fan on your CPU, but don't overdo it. Don't put too much of it on, because you'll have a big mess. The other thing that's helpful when you're working on computers is having a magnetizer and a demagnetizer. And these are pretty cheap. They don't cost very much. It's just a little thing you put the screwdriver inside, and you could demagnetize it, or you could demagnetize it. That's two places. So I want to make this magnetized, so I could put a screw on there and then just bring it into the laptop or the desktop so it don't fall off. I'll make sure I demagnetize it all the way, and then I'll magnetize it so a screw will stay right on the end of the screwdriver. So that's important to have. Now these are covers for a desktop. These go in the back, and they cover the different ports of your desktop. Now if you don't have something in every one, it's good to take them out. That way you'll get a little bit more cooling into the desktop. These you'll only find on desktop computers. If you have a video card, you have to take a couple of them off and put your graphic card in. So you'll have these. These are covers, and they're held on by screws. Another thing that's important is these magnets, and I'll tell you why. If you drop something inside the laptop or your desktop while you're working on it, you can use these magnets to pick up the screw or whatever object's in there. Most likely going to be a screw, so you're going to use these. Usually use the small one, but I have a bigger one just in case I need it. You can even use them on the big ones on cars also. If you drop something in your engine compartment and you need to get it, these things telescope, so they go longer. So if I drop something in the desktop and I need to get it out, some kind of screw, I'll use this, and it's a magnet, so it'll pick it up. So that's important to have, is these magnets, and obviously extra screws. You need extra screws. These are screws to the motherboard. These are screws to the case. On a computer, there's a couple different types of screws, so it's good to have a lot of extra screws. And wire cutters are important too. I have a couple pairs, just cheap wire cutters, nothing fancy. This is a needle nose plier cutter, and this is a regular wire cutter. A lot of times when you're working on a desktop, you'll have wires all over and you want to organize them, so you use these wire ties, and then you cut off the excess once you're done tying the wires together. You want to keep the wires away from the fans in a desktop computer, so you wire them together and away from the fan so they don't go in the fan and get chopped up, and then you'll cut the excess off the ends. Those are good to have, cutting wires and stuff. And then you want extra cables and then extra plastic things to pry the laptop open. So these are extra hard drive cables, good to have. And I keep a pen around usually just in case I have to write down a model number of a part or a computer model number I look up. I always have a pen and a piece of paper or a pad next to me, because you're always going to have to write something down. And I have a few more pry bars, which are good to have. These metal pry bars if you have to open up a laptop. And I was telling you before, on desktops you need two different kinds of screwdrivers, a bigger Phillips and a smaller Phillips. So this is my smaller one. And I got these posts that before you put the motherboard in, you set these in before the motherboard sits on these. They're good to have. Another screwdriver, can never have enough, and then these prying bars. And it's always good to have a battery tester. This is good for the CMOS batteries. It tests a little battery, and every computer has a CMOS battery. It's a little round battery, and it holds your date and time on the computer. So I buy these. You buy these CMOS batteries, these little round batteries, and I'm trying to see if I have any right around here. Yeah, you get those batteries and then you replace them on the laptop. It's good to put the batteries in while the laptop's running. It won't hurt you or anything. It won't affect anything. You do that because it won't change the time. And it's good to have these little thumb drives too. You know, if you need to save any files, I always carry some of these with me. These little thumb drives. And then you have a very important thing is a magnifying glass. So you can read stuff on your computer, on your label, or, you know, on a computer there's always so much little writing, so you definitely need to have a decent magnifying glass. These are like on eBay for like $8.99. I got two of them. They're really good. They come in handy, and you can read little prints, and it's good to have. And then you'll have, as you're working on computers, you'll end up with extra laptop memory. This is what laptop memory looks like. So if you need an extra stick, or the memory's bad in your computer, you can always change it out. After you work on computers a while, you start gathering up desktop memory and laptop memory. I have the desktop memory is longer and the laptop memory is short, like this. And it comes in 4 gigs, 8 gigs, 16 gig sticks. So you'll accumulate a bunch of those after you work on computers for a while. And that's pretty much it. A lot of little odds and ends, and like I said, I keep a lot of these USB drives around. You know, I can install Windows. I have Windows on here. I can plug it in and easily install the operating system. And if I'm saving information or I need programs, I have them on other USB drives. So these are good to have. And another thing that's important, all along with your compressed air to clean your fans, is a brush, like a painted brush, where you can get in there and clean the fan even better. So I have one of these, and that's pretty much it. And you know, a pack of these when you have a desktop and you're trying to organize the cables, when you're doing cable management or in a gaming system, and you want to have the cables all nicely organized away from the fans. You'll use these zip ties, and they're very important to have. And those are the basic things you'll have when you're working on a computer. They're not very expensive, but they're important to have. And, you know, I keep my stuff in a little case, you know, and that way and then another thing you'll accumulate is extra fans, extra desktop fans, extra laptop fans. If they're still good, hold on to them. You may need them, and that's something that always come in handy when working on a computer. And I also keep paper clips. And you may say, why a paper clip? Well, I can tell you, on your DVD drive, on your desktop and your laptop, there's a little hole right next to your where you push the button to put the CD in or the DVD. Sometimes that gets stuck, and there's a little hole there, and you put this paper clip in that hole and push in, and it will open that door. So this is very important to have. I've saved a lot of people where they got their DVD stuck in the drive and didn't know how to get it out. You know, I come with this thing and opens right up. So that's very important to have, is a paper clip. Doesn't sound like much, but it comes in really handy if someone gets their DVD stuck. And I have a couple of paper clips. I always have a few because I've been on jobs where people have gotten their DVDs messed up, you know. Can't open it, the door, and that paper clip, believe it or not, will help you to open that door too, not only to get the CD out, and sometimes it'll get stuck in there, you have to pull the CD out. Sometimes it'll mess up the CD, sometimes it won't. But you got to remember not to keep a CD or a DVD in your computer when you shut it off. You should always take them out. So those are the kind of things that you need if you're going to be do computer repairing. Like I said, I keep a lot of these tools close to me because when I'm working on a computer, you know, I need them. And I also have a second set in my car when I'm doing mobile service for people. But I will bring some of the stuff in here. I don't have the exact amount of stuff in my car, but I do, you know, it's all this stuff that you need, you know. So give me a chance to organize everything. Yeah, you got to have all your screwdrivers and everything. And I'm going to put everything back since I showed you all. And yeah, I mean, it's not a lot. And also keep some batteries with you, those BIOS batteries. Go to the dollar store and buy 5 or 6 of them, just so you have them. When you work on a computer, change the BIOS battery for the person, because that'll give them another 6 or 8 years to use their computer, because the batteries on the computer only last about 6 or 8 years, and they have to be changed. Most people don't know that, but there is a small cell battery on every computer that keeps the time and date, and you have to change that now and then. I also have a power supply tester, but what's better than a power supply tester is I keep a brand new power supply with me, so if somebody's desktop power supply may be bad, I can always test it with a new one. And if their power supply doesn't start their computer and mine does, then I'll install mine and I'll buy another one. So it's always good to have extra parts, because you just never know when you're going to need them. You're going to always need some memory. You're always going to need screws and odds and ends and all these things. And even this, I keep this, which sometimes you don't have the proper plug, so this will turn a three into a 2. That's good to have. And just keep everything, and you could do a lot of different jobs on your computer, and if you want to work on other people's computers, having these tools will really help you. So I keep everything inside my case here. So if I'm working on any computers here, I got everything I need, extra memory, USB drives, even little labels are good to have. I have a set of labels, so sometimes you need to label a wire or something. You want to make sure you don't forget what it is. It's good to have labels, and you could write down what it is. You can get those at the dollar store. They're really cheap. Just little stick-on labels, so you could put them on. Let's say you have to, you don't want to forget what a wire is, so you'll write what it is on there, and you stick the label on there so you won't forget. And you could also use labels for your USB drives too. If you want to remember what's on your USB drive or there's nothing on it, you could put empty, or you can write what's on there and put that little label on your USB pen drive. And that's what I do on all my drives, so I know what's what. So I'm glad you guys got to check out the tools that I use. And these are tools that you can use for your computer. And there's 2 more that I didn't tell you about. And one is an external hard drive with programs on it to help you fix your computer. I have antivirus and different drivers and different cleaning programs on here. That's good to have. And also you need a flashlight, a couple small flashlights that you can see inside a laptop or in a desktop. So you definitely got to have a couple little flashlights. That's really important. So I'm going to end this video now, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Hello, Mike's Computer Tip here with another video. I'd like to talk a little bit about passwords. You have passwords for a lot of different things. And when you have these passwords, make sure you are writing them down. If the passwords are, let's say, capital letter in certain areas, or you have a symbol, make sure all that is written down, because it's very important for you to remember. What I do is I have a piece of paper, a list, and I put all my passwords on there. And that way, I know what's going on. So I recommend you writing everything down. And whatever it is, like social media, whatever password is to what, I have a list. I have the name of it on one side, the password on another. So that's a very important thing. And another thing, don't make them very easy to remember, and don't make them the same. Make them different. So let's say you have 3 different combination passwords. Make them different. Let's say you have, Red Robin 408 with a question mark. Do the next one something else. And have 3 or 4 different passwords that you use for different things. So people, if they try to hack into you, and people do that all the time, they will not be able to get to you. Make it something that most people don't understand what it is, even if it's numbers first or symbols first, whatever it is, make it something that's not easy for them to recognize. That's very important. Just think of something out of the blue that people don't know about and only you know about. You can make that a password and make sure you put symbols and numbers in there and letters. Sometimes you can make some capital, some small, lowercase. Make it difficult. Make it a very strange, weird password. Those are harder to break into people's computers. So you don't want somebody stealing your important information or your banking information. And so make passwords accordingly. And I also recommend that after a while, change those passwords. Maybe 6 months or 8 months later, go in and change them to something else. But just make sure you cross off the old one and put something else there. That way people won't be able to track you and follow you. Passwords are a very important thing because there's a lot of hackers out there and they're always looking to mess somebody up. Instead of going to a job or working hard, they want to come on the computer and try to do it the easy way and to take what someone else worked hard for. Take your money, take your personal information. They make credit cards in your name. They try to take out loans and all kinds of nonsense. So, password, take it seriously and write a list and make sure you have that list near you and no one else can see that list because you don't want anybody to steal your password. That's for you only. And if you get emails saying they need to know your password, just delete it because nobody is going to ask you an email and instant message. Oh, we have a problem. Oh, we forgot with your account. We need your password. It's a lie. Believe me, it's a lie, and a lot of seniors get taken advantage of because of that. They believe emails and instant messages from scammers pretending they're your bank or something else. Don't believe that. Call the bank yourself or look into your financial history and you'll see that a lot of times it's a lie. Don't give your social security out online. Don't give your routing number and your banking account number to anybody unless it's a secure site where you're buying something. If it's a secure site, there will be a lock in the corner of the website. You will see a lock and it will say secured site, like on Amazon and eBay and things like that. Be very careful because people are out there trying to scam and it's not getting any better, it's getting worse. So take my advice, and better to be safe than sorry when it comes to passwords. I know because I've been hacked into. I've even been to stores where the cashier would take my credit card number and after I left started making purchases under my name, my credit card. Sounds ridiculous. That's something that you would never believe, but this happens, and it happens all the time. I've even had customers where I work on their computer, and a screen comes up on their computer and says, "You have a virus. You need to pay $40 now, and that will fix the virus." And a lot of these seniors will pay the money just to find out it's a scam. And they think they fixed something, but they're actually making it worse. So don't fall for any tricks. If you have to ask the company, whatever you're dealing with, is this legitimate? Facebook, PayPal, all these different places, they will never ask you your password. So don't give it. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you'll take this to heart. Mike's Computer Tips. Have a good day.